Hi, I'm Allison. I'm 32 years old, and I used to think the worst thing that could happen at a family birthday party was an awkward toast or someone bringing up old family drama over cake. I was wrong. At my mother's 60th birthday celebration, in a quiet suburban home filled with relatives, balloons, paper plates, and children running between adults, my 14-month-old son reached for a cupcake sitting near the edge of the dining table. He wasn't screaming. He wasn't throwing anything. He was simply a baby smiling at frosting, like it was the most exciting thing in the world. Before I could pull his little hand away, my brother snapped. He slapped my son's hand hard enough to make that sharp sound every parent recognizes before their stomach drops. My baby froze for a moment, then burst into a terrified cry. I stood up so quickly my chair scraped across the floor. "What the hell are you doing to my child?" I said. My brother leaned back as if he had done absolutely nothing wrong and gave me that smug little laugh he always used when he wanted everyone else to feel small. "Stop overreacting," he said. "You're too sensitive. Someone has to teach him." The room went silent. My mother stopped holding the cake knife. My father stared down at his plate. Several relatives looked at me as though I was the one causing a problem. No one reached for my son. No one told my brother he had crossed a line. Then my husband stood up. He didn't yell at first. He didn't create a scene. He simply stepped between my brother and our baby, looked him directly in the eye, and said, "Get out right now." That was the moment everything in the room shifted. My brother believed he had just corrected a child. My family assumed I would calm down and apologize like I always had, but none of them understood what they had just awakened in me. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me where you're watching from and what the weather is like there. I want to know how far this story reaches, because somewhere out there, another parent has been called too sensitive for protecting their child. And maybe they need to hear what happened when I finally stopped staying quiet. We left my mother's house before anyone even cut the birthday cake. Noah was still crying in my arms when Nathan buckled him into his car seat, and I stood beside the open door shaking so badly I could barely breathe. Derek had slapped my 14-month-old son's hand for reaching toward a cupcake, then acted like I was the problem because I refused to call it discipline. Nathan barely spoke during the drive back to Riverside Commons. That was how he handled pressure. As a commander in an engineering unit, he knew how to stay calm when everyone else lost control. But I noticed his hands tighten around the steering wheel every time Noah sniffled from the back seat. When we got home, Nathan turned on the kitchen light, carefully checked Noah's small hand, and took photos of the redness before it faded. I asked whether that was really necessary. He looked at me and said, "Allison, when people start telling you something didn't happen, you'll need proof that it did." I didn't realize how right he was until the next morning. My mother, Elaine, called at 8:15, using that careful voice she always used when she wanted to make something ugly sound polite. She said Derek felt embarrassed. She said he was stressed from work. She said he had just landed a major sales account and had been under pressure all week. Then she said, "Honey, he was only trying to help. Noah is getting to the age where he needs boundaries." I stared at the phone. "Mom, he slapped my baby's hand hard enough to make him scream." She sighed as though I was exhausting her. "Allison, you've always been sensitive. Motherhood has only made it worse. Your brother is old-fashioned, but he loves family. He would never hurt a child on purpose." Across the kitchen, Noah sat in his high chair, holding a banana slice. Every time his spoon tapped the tray, he flinched. Maybe nobody else would have noticed. I noticed. Nathan noticed too. My father, Paul, texted an hour later, "Your mother only turned 60 once. It would be a shame to let one difficult moment ruin the memory for her. Please think about the whole family. Not one question about Noah." Then Derek texted me, "You humiliated me in front of everyone. Your husband had no right to order me around like one of his soldiers. Stop acting like I attacked your kid. I taught him not to grab. Somebody had to." I read it 3 times, and each time I felt smaller. That was the strange thing about growing up in my family. Even when you knew exactly what happened, their certainty could make you doubt yourself. By noon, my mother had created a group text with me, my father, Derek, and 2 relatives who had attended the party. She wrote that we all needed healing, that harsh words had been exchanged, and that everyone owed everyone grace. Derek replied with a thumbs up. My father responded, agreed. Then my mother wrote, Allison, it would mean a lot if you and Nathan could apologize for escalating things in front of the guests. I felt the room tilt. Nathan picked up the phone, read the conversation, and set it back on the counter. They aren't asking for peace, he said. They're asking for silence. I whispered, what if I really did overreact? Nathan looked toward the living room where Noah was stacking soft blocks. A person who made a mistake would ask whether the child was okay. Derek has only asked why he was embarrassed. That sentence stayed with me the entire day. By evening, my mother called again, sounding more irritated than hurt. She said Derek had always been the strong personality, the one who believed children needed structure, the one who stepped up when Dad avoided conflict. I almost laughed from disbelief. Derek, who turned every holiday into a speech about himself, was now being praised as the family protector. Mom, I said, protecting a child means not hitting him. She went quiet. Then she said, you're making this sound worse than it was. That was when I finally understood their strategy. They weren't denying the slap. They were minimizing it. A slap became a tap. A crying baby became bad behavior. A mother defending her child became drama. A husband stepping in became aggression. By the time they finished rewriting the story, Derek would become the victim, my mother's birthday would become the tragedy, and Noah would disappear from the center of his own pain. I didn't respond to the group text. I put Noah to bed, sat at the dining table, and wrote down everything I remembered. The cupcake near the edge, Derek's hand coming down, Noah's cry, my mother holding the cake knife, my father looking away, Nathan's voice when he said, "Get out." I thought I was simply trying to keep my memories clear. I had no idea that notebook would become the first page of the file that eventually destroyed Derek's perfect image. I almost allowed them to convince me I was the problem. But one message from outside my family made me wonder how many times Derek had crossed a line before I finally noticed it. The message came from Tessa Alvarez, my closest friend at Riverside Commons. Her husband served with Nathan, and she had become the kind of friend military life gives you when your own family is far away and emotionally unreliable. She didn't ask for gossip. She simply wrote, "I keep thinking about what you told me. Has Derek ever done anything like this around other kids?" I started typing no. Then I stopped. The honest answer wasn't no. The honest answer was that I had never allowed myself to connect the memories. I remembered Derek yanking a toy truck away from our cousin's toddler during a 4th of July barbecue because the little boy was making engine noises while Derek was telling a story. I remembered him grabbing another cousin's son by the shoulder at Thanksgiving and calling him spoiled for crying after spilling his plate. I remembered my mother laughing nervously and saying, "You know Derek, he just has that strong older brother energy." I had accepted that phrase for years, as if it were a personality trait instead of a warning sign. That night, I searched through old text conversations. I found messages from family gatherings where someone complained that Derek was too rough, followed by my mother asking everyone not to make things awkward. I found a summer picnic photo where a little girl stood crying in the background while Derek pointed at her, and my mother had commented, "Kids have to learn respect somehow." I sent screenshots to Tessa. She called immediately. "Allison, this is not normal." I already knew it. I knew it in my body before I knew how to put it into words. Nathan sat beside me with a legal pad. Not because he wanted revenge, but because his mind worked in systems, dates, locations, witnesses, and direct quotes. He told me to separate facts from feelings. Facts could stand even when people attacked my emotions. The next morning, we took Noah to his pediatrician. I felt embarrassed walking into the office because the red mark on his hand had already started fading, and I worried the doctor would think I was wasting everyone's time. She didn't. She examined Noah gently, asked what had happened, and listened without interrupting. When I told her Derek called it discipline, she looked at me and said, "A 14-month-old doesn't understand discipline that way. He understands that an adult hurt him when he reached for something." She documented the visit, noted the photographs, and told me that protecting a toddler's sense of safety was not overreacting. I cried in the parking lot afterward because she had said the simple thing my own family refused to say. What happened was wrong. That afternoon, I called Aunt Marge, my mother's older sister. She was sharp, deeply religious, and known for remembering every family secret while pretending she didn't. At first, she went quiet. Then she said, "I was wondering when he would finally do something you couldn't ignore." The words chilled me. Aunt Marge told me Derek had been like this since childhood, especially with anyone smaller than him. He pushed cousins, grabbed toys, scared younger kids, and claimed he was teaching toughness. My parents always protected him. Derek was the firstborn son, the one my mother called the man of the house. Whenever my father stayed silent, Aunt Marge said, "My parents didn't raise Derek to be responsible. They raised everyone else to stay out of his way." I asked why nobody had told me. She sighed. "Because by the time you were old enough to notice, everyone had already learned the rules. Derek acted. Your mother explained. Your father looked away. The rest of us kept the peace." She sent me an old screenshot. In it, my mother had texted a cousin after a picnic, asking her not to tell people that Derek had scared her son near the swing set. Elaine had written, "He gets carried away, but he means well, and we don't need another family story making him look bad." I stared at that sentence. Making him look bad. Not making children feel unsafe. Not making parents uncomfortable. The real concern in my mother's mind had always been that Derek might look bad. By the end of the week, my kitchen table looked like a command center. Photos of Noah's hand, screenshots, notes from phone calls, the pediatrician's summary, Aunt Marge's messages. Every time I questioned myself, Nathan brought me back to one simple point. We aren't deciding whether Derek is a good person or a bad person. We're deciding whether Noah is safe around him. That made everything clearer. I didn't have to win a family argument. I had to protect my child from a man who believed hurting a toddler was a lesson. Then Tessa said something that changed the entire fight. If other parents in your family have children, they deserve to know what you know. Sharing that information would start a conflict. Keeping it quiet would make me part of the same pattern. For the first time in my life, I chose the conflict. I rewrote the message 3 times before sending it. The first version sounded angry. The second sounded apologetic. The third simply told the truth. I sent it only to relatives who had young children, and I kept everything factual. I explained that Derek had slapped Noah's hand at my mother's birthday party after Noah reached for a cupcake. I explained that he called it discipline and refused to apologize. I explained that my parents had pressured me to downplay what happened. I included information about the pediatrician visit, the photographs, and Aunt Margie's screenshot showing that concerns about Derek's behavior around children had been dismissed before. I ended with one sentence. I am not asking anyone to hate Derek. I am giving parents information so they can make safe decisions for their own children. Then I placed my phone face down and waited for my life to fall apart. It did, but not in the way I expected. My cousin Lacey called first. She had 2 young daughters and another baby on the way. She stayed silent for so long that I thought the call had disconnected. Then she said, "I always wondered whether I imagined something that happened at Grandma's house." She told me that Derek had once grabbed her daughter by the wrist when the child touched his watch, leaving visible finger marks. And my mother had told Lacey not to embarrass him because he had been having a stressful period at work. Another cousin sent a message. "Thank you for telling me. We were planning to ask Derek to watch the kids during the rehearsal dinner next month. We won't be doing that now." That night, Aunt Margie sent a written statement. She described 3 incidents she had personally witnessed, including one where Derek shoved a younger cousin away from a cooler because the child was standing in his way. Each time, my parents had minimized what happened. Reading her statement made me feel sick, but it also made me feel grounded. My memory was no longer standing by itself. At Riverside Commons, support looked different. Nobody there knew Derek well enough to be caught up in the family story surrounding him. Tessa brought over a casserole and sat on my living room floor while Noah stacked cups. Another military spouse, Maria, stopped by with extra diapers and said, In this community, when someone tells us a child was hurt, we don't start by defending the adult. That sentence felt like fresh air. Nathan also reported the situation through the proper channels on base, not because Derek was in the military, but because Derek had started sending hostile messages. And we lived in a military housing community where family safety was taken seriously. Nathan spoke with his command and contacted legal assistance to learn what steps to take if Derek came to our home or tried to harass us at the gate. His command did not treat him as though he was being dramatic. They told him he had done the right thing by documenting everything and protecting his family. That mattered. My family had been saying Nathan's military mindset made him too rigid, but the people who understood his world saw his response for what it really was: calm, reasonable, protective. 2 days after I shared the information, the family group chat went silent. Then Derek called. I almost didn't answer, but Nathan nodded and placed his phone on the counter with the speaker turned on. Derek's voice was tight with anger. "What the hell are you doing, Allison? People are treating me like I'm dangerous." I replied, "I told them what happened." He snapped back. "You made me look like some monster because I corrected your kid." I said, "No, Derek, I showed them what you did." There was a pause. Then he said the sentence that confirmed everything. "You always do this. You take one moment and act like the whole family has to answer to you. I'm the only one who ever kept discipline in this family. I'm the only man who stepped up when Dad checked out." Nathan's expression hardened. Derek wasn't just defending a slap on the hand. He was defending an identity. In his mind, he had the right to correct other people's children because the family had spent years treating him as the authority figure. That night, my mother called in tears. She said relatives were canceling visits. She said Derek's girlfriend was asking questions. She said I had embarrassed my brother in front of people who didn't understand his intentions. I asked whether she had called to check on Noah. She went silent. Then she said, "This is exactly what I mean. You keep bringing it back to the baby." I looked at the phone and felt something inside me settle permanently. "Yes, Mom," I said. "I keep bringing it back to the baby because he's the one Derek hit." Her tears no longer affected me the way they once did. I had spent most of my life confusing my mother's discomfort with my responsibility. Not anymore. The next morning, Derek stopped pretending this was about healing. He sent a letter from a lawyer. The certified envelope arrived on a Tuesday afternoon between a grocery flyer and a water bill. My hands went cold when I saw Derek's name connected to a law office return address. The letter accused me of spreading false and defamatory statements that harmed Derek's professional reputation, caused emotional distress, and interfered with business relationships. It demanded that I stop contacting relatives, retract every statement I had made, and sign a written acknowledgement that Derek had not harmed Noah. If I refused, Derek reserved the right to pursue legal action. I read it twice, and for about 10 minutes, I became the little sister my family had trained me to be. Afraid, guilty, ready to apologize just to make the pressure stop. Nathan came home from base and found me sitting at the kitchen table with the letter open. He read it carefully, set it down, and said, "He's trying to scare you into rewriting the truth." I asked, "What if he really can sue us?" Nathan sat across from me. "Allison, you shared documented facts with family members who have children. You didn't spread lies. You didn't threaten him. He hit our son and admitted he believed it was discipline. The truth doesn't become defamation because Derek doesn't like the consequences." Still, we needed help. Aunt Marge referred us to Rachel Kim, a civil attorney in Richmond who handled family disputes when they became complicated. Rachel was calm, direct, and completely unimpressed by Derek's letter. She reviewed my timeline, the text messages, the pediatrician's note, Aunt Margie's statement, and the screenshots from relatives. Then she leaned back and said, "This letter is mostly intimidation. He's betting you're more afraid of conflict than he is of discovery." That word hit me hard. Discovery. Rachel explained that if Derek sued me, he could open the door to every piece of evidence he wanted hidden. Witness statements, past incidents, his own messages, my parents' attempts to minimize everything. The letter that was supposed to frighten me suddenly looked like a door Derek shouldn't have opened. Rachel drafted a response. She stated that I would not retract truthful statements. She warned that further harassment would be documented. She also noted that Derek's conduct toward Noah, combined with threats and intimidation, could support legal claims from our side if he escalated the situation. For the first time since the birthday party, I felt like someone outside our home had built a wall between my child and my brother's anger. Derek didn't take it well. 2 nights later, he showed up at our house in Riverside Commons without warning. I saw him through the front window, pacing across the porch, face red, phone in one hand and keys in the other. Nathan told me to take Noah upstairs. I did, but I stayed close enough to hear. Nathan opened the door only after turning on the doorbell camera and placing his phone on the entry table where it could clearly record everything. Derek started yelling before Nathan even spoke. "You think having a lawyer makes you tough now? You and Allison are ruining my name over a little slap on the hand." Nathan's voice stayed calm. "Leave our property." Derek laughed bitterly. "Your property? This is military housing. You act like you own the country because you wear a uniform." Nathan didn't react. Derek continued. "I had to teach that kid because you two won't. He was grabbing food like an animal. Kids need discipline before they become spoiled brats." Upstairs, I felt Noah move in my arms and my chest tightened. Nathan replied, "He's 14 months old." "Exactly. And if you start early, they learn. A little smack never hurt anyone." There it was. Not a misunderstanding, not a gentle correction, an intentional choice. Nathan told him again to leave. Derek stepped closer. "Allison is going to regret making me look bad. My accounts are asking questions. My boss is hearing things. Do you understand what she's costing me?" Nathan's voice turned colder. "You are threatening my wife at my home after admitting you struck my child? I'm calling the police." Derek cursed, but he left only after Nathan started dialing. The responding officers took a report, warned Derek that he could be cited for trespassing if he returned, and advised us to keep all recordings and messages. When Rachel heard the recording the next morning, she went quiet. Then she said, "He just admitted the contact was intentional and connected his anger to professional consequences. That matters." Within 48 hours, Derek's lawyer stopped sending demands. But the damage Derek feared had already begun. Safe Nest Home Systems, where he worked as a regional account manager, sold security packages to families, daycares, and residential communities. His professional image was built around trust, protection, and family values. Now relatives were distancing themselves, a police report existed, and the man who sold safety had been recorded defending the act of striking a toddler for reaching toward a cupcake. Derek had tried to use fear as a weapon. Instead, he handed us evidence my family had spent years avoiding. I thought that recording would be the peak of the storm. It wasn't. It was only the beginning of Derek losing what mattered most to him, his reputation. Derek's downfall didn't happen all at once. That made it more meaningful. It happened piece by piece, each consequence tied to a choice he made and a truth he tried to bury. First, one of his largest clients asked Safe Nest Home Systems to replace him. The client was a private preschool network expanding security systems across several Virginia locations. They had heard there was a police report involving Derek, a child, and threats made at a military housing community. They didn't want someone connected to that kind of issue representing a family-focused safety brand. Derek blamed me, of course. He left a voicemail from an unknown number. "Are you happy now, Allison? You cost me a 6-figure account because you couldn't let one birthday party go." I saved the voicemail and forwarded it to Rachel. She replied with a single sentence, "Do not respond. Let him keep documenting motive." Then Safe Nest opened an internal review. They didn't fire him immediately, which led my mother to claim victory for about 12 hours. She texted me, "His company knows this has been exaggerated. Please stop before more people get hurt." I almost threw my phone across the room. More people. In my family, the person facing consequences was always described as the victim. The child who had been hit remained an afterthought. But the review didn't go Derek's way. The company learned he had come to our home uninvited after receiving a legal warning. They learned he had been recorded saying he needed to teach my child because Nathan and I wouldn't. They learned several relatives no longer wanted him around their children. For a company built on public trust, it was a serious problem. Derek was permanently removed from the preschool account. His planned promotion to district director was suspended. He was required to attend anger management and professional conduct counseling if he wanted to keep his position. I didn't celebrate publicly. I wasn't proud of enjoying someone else's humiliation. But I would be lying if I said I didn't feel a sense of justice. Derek had spent years using confidence like armor, walking into every room as though respect was automatically owed to him. Now people were asking questions he couldn't intimidate his way out of answering. My mother tried to stop the damage by organizing a family meeting at her house in Glen Allen. She said it would be about healing. Aunt Marge told me privately it would really be about control. Nathan and I almost declined. But Rachel advised that a calm, witnessed conversation could be useful if we stayed disciplined. So we went. Without Noah. That part was non-negotiable. My mother hated it. She said keeping Noah away made the meeting feel hostile. I replied that bringing him near Derek would be irresponsible. She had no response. When we arrived, Derek was already there, standing near the fireplace with his arms crossed like a man prepared to lecture the room. My father sat silently in his recliner. Aunt Marge sat at the dining table with a folder. Several cousins were there as well. My mother began with a speech about forgiveness, family bonds, and how pain grows when people keep repeating old stories. Aunt Marge interrupted. "Elaine, this isn't about old stories. This is about a pattern." The room went quiet. Derek rolled his eyes. But Aunt Marge opened her folder. She read her statement about the picnic, the wrist-grabbing incident, the shove near the cooler, and the way my parents minimized each event. Lacey spoke next, her voice shaking. She said Derek had frightened her daughter so badly at a barbecue that the child refused to attend family gatherings for months. Ben said he had planned to trust Derek around his boys until he read the documentation. Derek exploded. "This is insane. You're all acting like Allison is some hero because she cried over a cupcake." Nathan stood slowly. He didn't move toward Derek. He simply stood, and everyone remembered the birthday party. "The cupcake isn't the issue," Nathan said. "The issue is that you hit a toddler, justified it, threatened his parents, and still think the problem is your embarrassment."